Reverend Steve here, keeping it simple. We're going to be in Genesis 15. We're going to be in verse 16. And this is a story about Abraham. And what happens to God tells him the future. And it's quite amazing here. This is a beautiful. I know we're talking about the great delusion, right? But I want to build a little case for delusion. And this is a beautiful case of this. God tells Abraham about the people in a land. And it's quite amazing when you read this and really look at this, that God is basically saying that the sin has to build up to a certain point before God destroys a land or throws people out of a land. And I want to talk about that. And that goes in with the delusion or confusion that we see today. As we see America really implode within itself right now, we're seeing it implode all around us. So sin everywhere, fighting, pestilence everywhere. All things are going on. Amazing things that you see on the news. You're like, how can this be happening? How is this happening right before our eyes? And the blind and the people that are in a delusion, in confusion, don't understand the things that are going on. But God shows us in this little piece of scripture, and even Jesus touches on that too, that the sin is going to be so rampant in those days that the love of many will grow cold. So that sin is a delusion, right? Sin is a delusion. Within itself, it is a delusion. So let's read this and see where God says something very interesting to Abraham. And like I said, I read through this and I was like, it's a beautiful little subject that hits home today. So let's get into this. We're going to be in Genesis 15, verse 16. After 4 generations, so he's talking about the children of Israel, when they'll be tossed out of the land and be in Egypt. So after 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land. For the sins of the Amorites do not yet warrant their destruction. Wow. So God is telling that he waits. He waits till the sins are so piled high that he cannot not react. And that's amazing. Think about that. And think about the progression of the United States and the world today. 150 years ago, it was a Christian nation, right? It was a Christian morals, a lot of Christian morals. Not saying people were Christian or anything like that. There were many of them, but many had, they had a persona of it. But were they truly? I think more than today. But as we see today, it's very dark. And I just wanted to touch this base with this so you can understand that this is part of the delusion. Sin is part of the delusion. God bless.